Welcome! Man, my voice sounded weird there. Welcome to Peace, Love, and Robots, a podcast about anything and everything and all that is in between. I'm your host, Jeremy, as always. And this is Season 2, Episode 9, for November 11th, 2021. Yeah, it's late. I don't have any excuses except I slept the night that I normally record, so that's why you're getting it a day late, but not $1 short. You know, I was thinking today, we have explicit podcasts, podcasts that are marked explicit because the themes and the language might not be suitable for all audiences. Now, I'm not an explicit podcast, but I'd like to start the first implicit podcast. Maybe another time. The first implicit where it's only suggested that the themes and the language are not suitable for all audiences. I haven't really fleshed that bit out. I just started thinking about it while my equipment was starting up. But anyway, this podcast is brought to you by the ads you hear at the beginning and the end of the show. So if you stick around until the end of the show, I will forever be in your debt. An update, I will be getting my third payment from Spreaker in the last 7 years, but my third in 1 year on December 31st, and that could not be possible without you listening to the ads. So if you do that, that'd be awesome. I wrote a book, people. Yeah, an entire book with no pictures, just about 60,000 words. Because last year I gave myself a deadline and I actually stuck to it. I was early even. I finished it last weekend. But what was the deadline? It was my birthday. I decided that I would publish my first book before I turned 44. And before I was 50, before I become 50, which is years from now, I really hope to have a few of them published. Now, I'm not shopping for agents. I'm not trying to go that traditional route just to get everything out there. And part of me thinks my decision to avoid going that direction is due to a crippling fear of rejection, and that's probably true. I wonder if I'm actually good enough to be picked up and paid by an actual publisher. I tell myself that I probably am. People tell me that I probably am, but I don't really have evidence to the contrary, and those are the mental gymnastics I go through sometimes. See, the goal is never to wow an editor or an agent. That may be something I pursue in the future, but I had to really just prove to myself that I could do it. I had to defeat my own worst enemy, me. It's like that scene in the movie Creed. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. It's a great movie. It's better than it deserves to be. It's incredible. But anyway, I highly recommend it. And I know last week I had a boxing metaphor, so just bear with me. It's my show. And this is a little bit different. See, towards the end of Creed, the main character's name is Adonis Creed. He's obviously the son of Apollo Creed from the other Rocky films. Anyway, they call him Donnie, and Donnie's in the corner after getting his head caved in by pretty Ricky Conlon. His face is completely swollen up. His eyes are puffy. He can't see much, and it's been a really tough fight. And if it were a legit fight, Creed would have lost. There's no way that a referee would allow him to continue, but this is a Rocky movie, and that's not how this works. So Donnie's in the corner. Rocky is contemplating throwing the towel. He's saying, I gotta stop it, kid. I gotta stop it, kid. But Donnie stops him. Why? Because he says, I have to prove it. He has to prove that he's not a mistake. Man. Just writing that down for this episode and thinking about that scene kind of chokes me up, because Michael B. Jordan in that scene doesn't just break your heart. He shatters it into millions of pieces, like Shea Serrano writes in his book, Movies and Other Things, which I highly recommend, by the way. He writes about the many times Michael B. Jordan has broken our heart, and that's the one where you just get shattered by it. But anyway, it's a great scene. It's a great movie. And you got to go out and rent it. It's getting cold outside. You might want something to watch. It's actually on like TNT or TBS like 100 times a month. So you might be able to catch it that way, but it's a great movie. Anyway, writing and publishing this book was like my own fight with Pretty Ricky. I had to prove to myself more than anybody else that I could not only write, but I could write something and put it out into the world. And I could finish something to put it out in the world. And I went and knocked out that son of a gun. Yeah, it's a good feeling, but now I'm in a weird sort of limbo. Like, what do I do next? Do I take time off? Yeah, I might take a little bit of time off, but too much of that could lead to complacency, so I have to find that right balance. I kind of know what I'm going to work on next. I also wonder if I should start something fresh. I guess a little bit of time off will help me get inspired, maybe. And for now, I think I'm going to read a good book or two and finally watch Dune. At least the rest of it. I started it, haven't finished it. And Squid Game, maybe. Everybody says I should watch Squid Game. I'm not sure. And then maybe I'll get back on the wagon. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'll get back on the wagon. Yeah, but because if I don't, Pretty Ricky wins. And I need to make sure he stays down. So, what do you think? Are you your own worst enemy? You can let me know by sending me an email at peaceloveandrobotspod@gmail.com. That's peaceloveandrobotspod, all one word, @gmail.com. Or you can leave me a voicemail at 585-371-8986. I'd love to hear from you. And if you want more content from me, you can check out my Substack, zaire.substack.com. I post a new column every Monday and Friday. That's 3 times the content from me every single week, including this show. I'd love to have you subscribe over there. You can even get it sent right to your email. You don't have to visit another site. Just visit your email, and I'm right there 3 times a week. Kind of sounds creepy. Yeah. Most importantly, though, you can now buy my book, My Life's Work, a story of life, labor, and love. It's available both on Kindle and on paperback or in paperback. If you buy both versions, I can make more money. Did you know that I actually make more money on the Kindle than I do on the paper version because there's printing involved? So buy both if you want. I can make more money. You know, I need to sell 40,000 of them to pay off my school debt. And that's a real number, by the way. That's a real number. Peace, love, and robots. Your legacy is more than a name.